Alright guys, so in today's video we're going to be talking about Marine Corps boot camp. Now I know that when I went through boot camp it was the old school 3-phase boot camp, whereas today it is your 4-phase boot camp. Anyway, I went through boot camp in 2017, so I'm going to share my experience with you guys. Alright, so you initially are going to show up on a bus. Obviously you've seen the videos of the drill instructors getting up on the bus and yelling at you and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You get out and you hop on the yellow footprints, right? When you hop on those yellow footprints, you are basically going to just get yelled at by the drill instructor. He's going to tell you everything that you need to know about being a recruit. And it's all fast paced, like it's all like gunshots, super fast, right? So once that happens, you're rushed into the doors. They'll give you the speech of once you pass, you enter as a civilian and you become a Marine Corps recruit, and then once you leave the depot, you were considered United States Marine. So you come in, you start getting issued all of your gear. You sign a ton of paperwork that week. You're issued everything from shoes, boot sizes, all of your linens, all of your laundry, a ton of your gear, right? So then after that, you're rushed around. My biggest advice there, make sure that you're moving fast and make sure that you do exactly what they tell you to do. You're going to see a lot of guys and girls there who are not listening and they will get yelled at. Biggest advice, especially that you'll see throughout this video, is just be a fly on the wall. Do not get noticed. The goal is to have them not know your name. And if they know your name in receiving, quite frankly, you suck. Alright, anyway, moving on. So they're going to issue you your gear as far as all of your personal effects. In boot camp, you're going to take your civilian clothes, you'll take them to a facility where you have the address on them. If you end up failing, it'll get sent home. Or if you end up actually graduating boot camp, you will get them back at the end of the week. I believe in Marine Week now for the 4-phase boot camp. In old school 3rd-phase boot camp in 2017, we ended up actually going down there and getting them during the last week, which was still considered Marine Week. It was just 13 weeks instead of 14. Later on that week, you will get issued all of your SIF gear, which is your main pack, your canteens, your Gore-Tex, your Wooby, all of that stuff, poncho liner, everything, right? So you will be issued all of that gear throughout that time. They're going to allow you to choose between banks, but it's like between a Parris Island bank and Navy Federal, if I remember correctly. Pick Navy Federal. Do not be the stupid recruit that picks the Parris Island bank and then you get stationed in Okinawa because you're a pogue and you basically have no means to that bank other than online, and it sucks. Get Navy Federal, they'll work with you. They've been great for me my entire career, and it works. So basically, week 1, right? So you get marched down to your squad bay by one of the receiving drill instructors, so you'll kind of start seeing the ins and outs, and he'll get ready for your cycle. So then the drill instructors will come out. All of your real drill instructors will give you that senior drill instructor speech of what they expect out of you that whole week. And basically, they're going to yell at you, and then that's when you start playing all the Marine Corps fuck games, right? So you get run around a lot. They're going to make you jump up and down. You're going to have to speak a lot of terms. It's going to be an eye-opening experience. When you're in the chow hall, you're going to be slammed up super close to each other. It's not going to be fun, but it will end up being worth it, and you'll see the reason why. You're going to do a lot of drill. You will never do it again in the fleet, but it is key to be good at drill. That way your platoon isn't getting messed up every single day, right? You're going to get countdowns online. They're going to be yelling at you. You're going to be getting your head shaved every week as a recruit. And you'll actually have some guided discussions with your senior drill instructor who basically will give you a ton of good knowledge. Whether he was a grunt or he was an air winger or whether he was admin, supply, whatever. They have experience in the Marine Corps, so they will have some knowledge regarding where you go, okay? You'll have initial drill where you will, compete against the other platoons. You will get graded. The newest drill instructor in the platoon, typically for that group of drill instructors for your platoon, will run the initial drill, okay? And you will get judged off of that. And typically, if you're the best platoon, then your platoon won't really get messed with. and you guys will honestly be on the good side of the drill instructors, which is what you want, right? Then you end up having swim week, which for me, I believe was in week 4. That's one of the biggest weeks where people get dropped, okay? Biggest piece of advice, show up to boot camp knowing how to swim. Know how to tread water, okay? Know how to actually swim and have confidence in the water. Do not be scared of the water. Everything they ask you to do at boot camp is going to be stuff that you're able to do. They're not going to ask you to do anything that you can't physically do, okay? So you're going to have swim week, and at least when I went, if you pass the swim test on the first day, you don't have to go back, and you basically have a lot more downtime that week at boot camp, and you just work on drill and go to chow, and it's really not that bad, whereas all of your recruit buddies who end up not being very good at it will end up being stuck at the pool all week long going in, getting yelled at by the McQuist instructors, and it's not a very fun time, okay? It's not fun at all. So after swim week, you'll continue to move into more drill, and then you will get to the infamous grass week and range week. Okay, so grass week and range week are the biggest weeks where people get dropped. This is where it comes into play of not getting noticed, okay? Because a lot of the recruits that get noticed and suck and the drill instructors hate, they'll make them do a weapons handling test, and the PMI, your primary marksmanship instructor, will honestly screw that person over and make them fail, okay? Listen to what they have to tell you to do, right? You know how to use the RCO and know how to use that service rifle, okay? It's going to be key in order for you to pass, and it will catch up to you later on in the fleet once you start getting into promotions and everything like that, right? So make sure that you're paying attention. Another big thing, do not flag the line. Make sure that your muzzle is pointed either at the ground or downrange at all times. Do not do anything that the range coaches or that the primary marksmanship instructors, that the drill instructors don't tell you to do. Basically, if you do anything other than exactly what they tell you to do, you're going to get dropped. I've seen it happen many, many, many times when I was at boot camp, and I'll tell you right now, the last thing you want is to be 5, 6, 7 weeks into boot camp, and then you get dropped all the way back to forming day 1. I'm telling you, it is not worth it. It is not worth it in the slightest. So, after range week, you'll have your range week. Again, make sure you don't get noticed. Assuming that you pass your range week, you will continue to move on to more field training, right? You will do your BWT, you will do, which is your basic warrior training, where you'll climb underneath the wires, you'll have your seer night, where you have to try and hide from the drill instructors, and it actually can be a lot of fun. Just make sure that your platoon is squared away, that way you can do all of those fun things. You will do the rappel tower and the gas chamber, okay? Do not freak out in the gas chamber. You do not freak out, okay? If anything, you will be just fine in the gas chamber. Like I said, they're not going to make you do anything that nobody else can do, right? You're going to be able to do every single thing that they ask you to do. It is nothing to be worried about. It's nothing to be scared of. Nobody dies. I promise you it's going to be okay. Do not be freaking out. Next, the rappel tower, right? I know that a lot of Marines and a lot of recruits are scared of heights. Do not be scared of heights. Face your fear. There are multiple ways to catch you. You're not going to fall off that rope. Those BWT instructors are former grunts that know what they're doing. Okay? They know how to save you. They know how to tie knots. You're not going to get hurt. I promise. So, again, BWT, you'll have your seer night. You'll do your rappel tower, your gas chamber. And on top of this, keep in mind when you're doing your field training, for those of you who have signed that uniform hotel contract to be an infantryman, listen to your BWT instructors, right? Those black shirts. You'll see them wearing black shirts. They'll have a low fade haircut. They'll have low boot glosses. Those are great Marines, right? Those are infantrymen. If you're going to be an infantryman, make sure you pay close attention to them, because that's how the style is in the infantry. That's how it is in the infantry, okay? Make sure that you are listening to them and paying attention. That way you're passing any sort of test that you need to have, right? Because you're going to have to do a PRACAP test where you have land nav and where you have to fill out those points, and make sure that you're paying attention. If you pay attention, it's going to be super easy for you. It's the same thing with all boot camp. Keep in mind, most of your drill instructors were pogues. They were not infantry. Regardless of, they're going to try and talk a big game and say, oh, I went to Afghan, or oh, I went to Syria or Iraq. But in reality, they sat in an air wing or they sat in the supply shop there. They didn't actually go out on patrol, okay? So, unless one of your drill instructors was infantry, typically it's not, you know, something where they're going to know a lot of knowledge of. That doesn't mean don't respect them, because obviously your drill instructors, that's a very hard MOS. But at the same time, make sure you're paying attention to those black shirts, because they really do know what's best, okay? So you'll go through all of that. You'll have your final drill where you will perform against the other platoons again, and it's very, very, very important that you actually do good, okay? Because typically the platoons that don't do as good, they're handed on to the crucibles a lot harder, right? So now, the part that everybody's been waiting for, the crucible, right? So, in the crucible, it is not as hard as what everybody thinks it is. You still have to earn your place, but I'm going to get you guys woke, right? So you'll have to do things like the endurance course, the combat endurance course. It is not easy, okay? It can be a little bit challenging, and it can be very tough, honestly. But at the end of the day, it is worth it, and it is something that you should take seriously, because that's how you become a Marine. The biggest thing that I could tell you is that a lot of people forget when they hit the fleet how much they want to actually be a Marine. I'm telling you, it's very, very, very important that you're taking it seriously and that you actually sustain that transformation, because at the end of the day, you wanted to be a Marine regardless. So make sure that you're paying attention during that. You're going to have multiple hikes throughout boot camp, but during the crucible, it's definitely physically challenging, and depending on the time of year, it's either going to be really, really cold or it's going to be very, very hot. When I went, it was very, very hot. You're going to be with a lot of people that are very young if you go in the summertime. If you go in some of the winter months or spring months or fall months, it's going to be more older guys. But typically when you go in the summertime, it's going to be the typical demographic of kids who have just graduated high school, okay? So basically you're going to get through the crucible, you're going to graduate, you're going to have your Marine Week, and you're going to have Family Day. Family Day, obviously a great day. You get to see your family and everything when it's done. It's amazing, okay? Then, after that, you're going to have your graduation, where you'll march across the parade deck, they'll dismiss you, and then you'll get to go home on boot leave. So, overall, boot camp, honestly, they're not going to ask you to do anything that you can't do, okay? It's very worth it at the end of the day, because you get to be a part of the best military branch, and you get to be a part of a war-fighting organization. It's great. 3 months, and then you're part of the world's finest fighting force.